Hi there, my name is Kim and these are the Wayrider Chronicles, my alternative look at current affairs.
Hi there everybody, today we're going to talk about China, and more specifically China's attitude to, or stance as it's called in geopolitics, towards the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the actual war in Ukraine. I'm using an article that was published in last week's British Economist magazine. Sorry, a bit slow. It was actually published 6 days ago. Economist magazine is published on Thursdays, and with our current hyper news cycle, I'm a bit slow on this one. But I think it's important to note because I don't believe that this particular article, which I'll get into details in a minute, has received the attention that it merits. So to put it in perspective, the Economist magazine, which has been around forever, and as part of the name, talks about a whole range of subjects rather than only economics, although their forte is obviously economic and financial markets. Occasionally has, it's not a regular thing, occasionally has an article which is written or authored by somebody, and that particular article is called by invitation. So they invite somebody to write for the magazine, or write an article for the magazine. This particular article is headed, which caught my eye straight away, Russia is so sure to lose in Ukraine, reckons a Chinese expert on Russia. So first of all, you think, okay, this is some Chinese guy who lives in America or Britain and works at some uni or is some part of some Sino, as they call it, think tank based in those countries. No, it's not. It isn't. This is a professor called Feng Yuyang. Excuse me, my Chinese is not very good, so I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it very well, who in the article is written, he's a professor at Peking University. Actually, to correct because I looked it up, I googled it, as we all do. Yes, he is. Feng Yukong is a professor at Peking University, but actually is a professor he's not only a professor at Peking University, but he's the dean of he's the dean of the Department of the Institute of International Studies at Fudan University in Shanghai. So, wait a minute, this guy lives in China. Anybody of any official capacity, especially somebody in their education sector, is going to say, or it's going to be allowed to publish a article in a widely read and recognized and respectable Western publication like The Economist. You've got to be damn certain that this article has been vetted by the highest reaches of the Chinese government. And the article starts off, well, Russia's going to lose, but we all turn around and wait a minute. Weren't they best buddies? Didn't Putin, the only place that he really has been is to Beijing, to solicit support, and China is buying apparently 100,000 whatever barrels of oil. I'm not sure of the exact figure, so don't put me on that one. Is buying oil from Russia directly around the international sanctions on Russian oil exports. So what's going on here? What's this guy talking about? So basically, Professor Feng Yuyang cites 4 factors in this heading, which is in this article. It's entitled "Russia's going to lose," right? It's going to lose this war. One of them, it's a natural thing, the level of resistance and national unity shown by the Ukrainians. Hello, well, we all know that. The international support, yep, it's getting a bit shaky, but there has been unprecedented international support. However, the last two factors are interesting ones. One reason, and I quote from the article, has been Russia has struggled in this war. One reason that Russia has struggled in this war is that it is yet to recover from the dramatic deindustrialization it suffered after the disintegration of the Soviet Union. Interesting, because implying that the Chinese have not had any particular issue with that deindustrialization. They have done remarkably well. However, the last point 4, which is perhaps the most interesting and, in a certain sense, the most ironic, when it comes to decision making, Vladimir Putin is trapped in an information cocoon, thanks to having been in power too long. Ironic, right? Seeing as the president of China has been in power and is trying to stay in power, where everybody would think for too long. But anyway, that's Xi has been around for a long time and he's cemented his position. So it's really ironic, this comment, but whatever. He goes on to say, in combination, these 4 factors make Russia's eventual defeat inevitable. Really? And in time it will be forced to withdraw from all occupied Iranian territories, including the Crimea, which we know is a big issue. The Crimea is always being seen as part of, as a major prize for Russia, because Crimea, Sevastopol, is where the Russian Black Sea port is stationed. Why is that important? Russia has always had, and we'll talk about a little bit of geopolitics here, their navy has always had a problem with access to the oceans. Essentially, up north, the Baltic has a choke point. Further north, it's iced out. Sevastopol is the Black Sea, but they have a choke point to try and get through to the Mediterranean and then out into the Atlantic via Dardanelles, between, in Turkey, between Europe and Eurasia, and of course Strait of Gibraltar. Over on the other side, Vladivostok is perhaps the main port for Russians, but it's way on the other side, and it's way far away from everything that is important. Anyway, a little bit of geopolitics. Also, within this article, this professor notes, Sergei Lavrov, that weird foreign minister of Russia, has just visited Beijing. He notes in the article, shrewd observers note that China's stance towards Russia has reverted from the no-limit stance a year or so ago, when Putin visited Beijing and saw Xi in early 22. Before the war, to the traditional principle, the Chinese have reverted to the traditional principles of non-alignment, non-confrontation, and non-targeting of third parties. It's quite an extraordinary thing, and it shows a major pivot, in my view, on how the Chinese view the whole Russian war effort and situation in Ukraine. It raises some points which, unfortunately, I don't understand why they're not being addressed by other foreign publications. That, do the Chinese know something we don't know about the Russian effort? Because, as I've said in prior videos, at this moment in time, we have a situation where it's all doom and gloom. The Russians are going to go on a summer offensive, which is going to start any day tomorrow, and they're going to wipe out Kharkov, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to start bombing everything. It's all over, basically. And the Ukrainians don't have any shells, they don't have any ammunition, they have to increase recruitment, etc., etc. A little bit strange. And why would the Chinese suddenly do publicly via respected professor who's who's an expert, Chinese expert on geopolitics and Russia, publishes this damning article of the Russian effort war effort in Ukraine and essentially saying, well, these guys are going to lose. Go figure. See you guys.